Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here at Wall Street in New York City. And of course I got the New York Stock Exchange behind me. So in this video today, we're gonna go into the issue of inflation, how it affects us, how it affects Wall Street, how it affects the banks, and how it affects your wallet, and why you need to get your money out of the wallet and prepare for the Great Reset as we are walking into an unprecedented time for the financial system worldwide. And guess what? It's not good for any of us. So stay tuned for this video. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to check the links below. Join us on GOGETFUNDING.com and help us support our work as we put feet on the ground in places like Italy and France, etc., to report on the stories that no one else is telling you as they lock down civilization and rip our very humanity apart. Also, make sure to check out our affiliate with Richardson, Nutritional Center, rncstore.com, linked below with our affiliate. If you want your amygdalin, your Laetrile, your vitamin B17, and your apricot seeds, go check that out below. But anyway, let's get to this. Right now we are facing an unprecedented time for inflation, which people keep overlooking. Inflation is the number one thing that affects the individuals living on Earth today, and no one talks about it because people say, oh, money's boring, I don't want to talk about money. Money seems like it's above my head. It's actually very simple. They print an insane amount of currency out of thin air, which 25% of all the dollars ever printed was printed last year in 2020, and has led to massive levels of inflation that they just say is transitory. It's false. It's nonsense. What they're doing right now is monetary manipulation on a level that we've never seen before. One thing I have to point out is that in recent days, we've seen the Fed print all this money, and then it's thrown into bonds, essentially. And when this money goes into bonds, what happens is you end up with a fortune of that money ending up in the actual stock market behind me. And it's all digital, and it doesn't even really exist. And it is basically, it's market manipulation. It's propping up the monetary, or the stock market to an extent that completely bubbles it. Now it's been endlessly bubbled, endlessly. It's been in a bubble. In fact, the recession, by the way, never really ended in 2007, 2008. It's still going on. It's just papered over, and this is how they do it. They just keep printing, and the plunge protection team comes in and they fix the problem. They're not fixing it. They're making it worse for every individual living today. People that are going out to buy food for their family, people that are building a house, people that are just doing any basic work, from just trying to run their business to trying to work at their job. They say, oh, well, we need a bigger wage. We need a bigger wage. No, you don't need a bigger wage. The issue is that we need to stop seeing all this currency flooding into the markets and causing massive amounts of inflation. Now, of course, the government comes in as a solution to this. Oh, we'll raise wages. Oh, we'll do this. We'll give you this credit. We'll do that. That isn't how this works. The more they do that, the worse it gets. The worse the inflation gets. The more the price of living skyrockets. Right now, we are seeing the age of dependence take place. One of the things that really stands out about it is that no one's working right now. It's not that they don't have jobs. Their jobs are available. It's just that, first of all, businesses can't afford to pay their employees. And second of all, people make more money just staying at home rather than actually going to work. So you'll see everywhere there's signs, cashiers needed, waiters needed. It's because why would they go and work if they can make more money just sitting at home doing nothing? And this is the age of dependence. This is the global takeover they've been waiting for. It is the idea of vast quantities of currency flooding into the market, going into the hands of random people, and under the guise of helping. It doesn't help, it prolongs it, and makes it worse, and it will never end as long as it continues. And that brings me to the next point. What we're seeing right now with this giant pharma monopoly that we have seen grow in size and scope dramatically in the last year and a half, especially based on complete lies. It's propped up these giant pharmaceutical companies to constantly prop up the cost of their pharmaceuticals, their drugs, which puts people in a really bad situation as it is. But it also leads into a lot of desperation. It's pushing us into this government centrally planned, centrally controlled system where people will never be able to get out. The more they print, the more they pump into this market, the worse it gets. And when people are desperate, they got rid of the moratoriums for a lot of people recently. And as I've said since the beginning, when they get rid of the moratoriums, what will happen next? Well, the government will come in and repackage a bunch of homes and say, oh, we're doing a good thing for you, even though they caused a problem in the first place. And as they give everyone all this new, free homes, basically, what that will only do is lead to the government owning up 10, 15, 20, 30% of all of the private property on Earth. So it becomes, or in the United States, later it'll be Earth. And what does that do? That means the government owns most of this property. That's basically communism that we're witnessing take place right now. Fascio-communism based in technocracy. Very, very, very dangerous. Now, on top of that, when you have this desperation, when you have this dependency, what comes next? Well, you have what they call the Great Reset. What is a Great Reset? Well, Klaus Schwab has described it in the World Economic Forum. It's basically a giant global monetary reset that we will see take place around 2025. Very good timing, isn't it? With this giant global monetary reset, we will end up seeing a ton of monetary moves across the board, massive inflation, a collapse of multiple currencies. And with these collapses of these currencies, at the same time, we will see the incoming of the special drawing rights as a new world reserve currency, replacing the US dollar, likely with a lot of voting power from the Chinese with the yuan. And as we have that take over, that's just for the rich and the powerful. The peasant people that they'd like to call us peasants, they call us the impoverished, that they're here to help. They're actually making it much worse, obviously. But the peasants will get the inflated currencies, and they'll constantly lose the value of their dollar or their euro or whatever it might be, while the elites use things like the special drawing rights. Now, as that happens, we are going to see people around the world end up in crippling poverty. We're talking a level of poverty that we've never yet seen on Earth, in a world based in dependence, based in servitude, based in a coddled nature, very weak people. As they say, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. It goes in a circle forever. When we have that situation on our lap, we're going to see starvation. We are going to see people begging for help from the government that put them in that situation in the first place. And with all these people begging for help, the government will be happy to help, quote unquote. They'll come in with their latest programs, their latest forms of centralization. And as that happens, we will see, supply chain breakdowns. We will see government ownership of the supply chain, government ownership of all of the private property. We will see a move towards even shutting down grids sporadically, probably using climate change as an excuse or a reason for it. And as they do that, we will see a big move to giant corporations to feed everybody, with the taxpayer money that's just printed at that point into existence. And it's perfect timing, since we can look at people like Bill Gates, is now the biggest owner of farmland in the United States. So they'll have GMO food, and they'll have very small amounts of food available to people. People will be begging Bill Gates and the government for help. And on top of that, the technocracy. There's going to be a divide among everyone at the same time, infighting, a collapse of modern civilization. You're going to have for example, the vaccine passports that are coming in here in New York City, where you're going to have 50% of people basically shoved to the curb, where the other 50% are going to attack that 50%, even though they're basically going to be attacking the victims. And it'll all be under the guise of saving the world, utilizing the same tools that have destroyed the world. That will never end, my friends. Technocratic enslavement, complete control of property, monetary overhaul, complete destruction of the monetary system, massive amounts of inflation. No, it's not just transitory. And you end up with essentially a global monetary dictatorship. And that's where we're going. And that'll end just in time for the year 2030. You know where that is? Do you know what's significant about the year 2030? It's Agenda 2030. They're moving very quickly towards it. It is the agenda for the year 2030. that the United Nations put in place several years ago at the Paris Climate Accord, based on the original Agenda 21, which was written in Rio back in, I believe, 1992 by the United Nations. The idea is to kill off most of the planet. Now, you can't just murder everyone. You have to do it by consent, not conquest. It's the same way that China has been able to take care of a lot of their population. How will they do that? Just say you can't eat, you can't work, you can't have a bank account, you can't do any of that stuff without a so-called vaccine passport. And with that, you will be ostracized from your family if you don't inject yourself with experimental poison, basically, government juice, if you will, to really show your servitude. And then climate lockdowns, and then the grid going down, and then the internet going down, and then the supply chain going down, and it'll be all your fault for being free. That's what they'll say. And at the same time, as SAGE, the UK government's think tank, recently said, 1 in 3 people may likely die in the next coming 15, 20 years. It's all up on the UK government's own website. And they say the people who are vaccinated will be the most likely to go. So you're going to see a mass die-off. And as those people are dying, they're still going to blame you, not the people who are doing it. And they're going to ask for more printing, and they're going to ask for more monetary manipulation in order to stop the problems of monetary manipulation. See what I mean, guys? With the Great Reset, Agenda 2030, and the collapse of the monetary system with the insane amount of inflation, it's all based on people doing problem, reaction, solution, repeat. It's a Hegelian dialectic, as they say. And as we keep going back to that, because people are dumb and they're not educated, and the media is 95% owned by pharmaceutical corporations and banks, no one will learn unless they go and look for that information. And most people don't want to do that. They don't want to be socially ostracized. They just want to go along to get along, be comfortable, and be ignorant, basically. It's the only way they can feel comfortable in life, and that's all people want. They don't want riches. They don't even really want love in a lot of ways. They just want comfort, plain and simple comfort. And they'll get that all the way to hell. And they're not coming back. So as I stand here in front of the New York Stock Exchange, I ask everybody, get out of the banks now. Don't be afraid to leave your job just because of principle. You don't live to work, you work to live. So don't give up your principles for your job. Put your money in decentralized cryptocurrencies, gold and silver, and more importantly than anything else, my friends, put your money into self-responsibility, individual responsibility. Put your money into guns and ammo. Put your money into food, water, shelter. And put your mind into your money. Privacy coins are going to be very important in the face of this technocracy and these continued global lockdowns and these attacks on individuals who don't follow along in the footsteps of the crowd. And it's going to be very dangerous, but there's going to be a period of time where we can survive and prosper. It's just going to be based on individual responsibility. And it's always been about that. That's a basis of humanity itself. That's a basis of freedom itself. Stand up. Take action for yourself. Don't ask for help from the people that are the biggest murderers and the biggest thieves throughout all civilization. Stand up for yourself, my friends. I'll be back at you with many more videos, including out of New York City, as well as coming up right away out of Italy and France and Netherlands and Croatia. You can help support us in our work on the ground in those places by checking the links below. GOGETFUNDING, Patreon, Subscribestar, PayPal, Bitcoin, and of course we have a Cointree link below for multiple different cryptocurrencies, including Monero and Pyrochain. It's really important that we support these privacy coins, because these privacy coins will be able to shield us from a lot of what's to come. Stand up for yourself, your family, and seriously, get your money out of the bank. You won't be able to access your money soon. They'll just completely shut down your bank account. they'll make it impossible for you to live. And they'll do it under the guise of trying to stress you and force you, even though you don't believe in it, into doing something abhorrent, which is supporting this system. And in supporting it, you are helping it grow, and you are helping it get worse. Stay tuned for more, my friends. Check the links below. Check out our rncstore.com link, our affiliate, and also make sure to check the links below for our newsletter, www.iamband.com, our Telegram group, World Alternative Media. Of course, we're on BitChute. We are on Odyssey. We are on Rumble and Brighteon, and we're on the Bad Guys TikTok and Instagram, World Alternative Media, as well as Twitter at World Alt Media. End the Fed, my friends. Decentralize everything. Live freely. Live by example. And stay tuned for much more. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth. Be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.